all of us do to improve ourselves this year, do you think?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is develop a compelling future. I mean, after 3 years of COVID and people thinking if somebody breathes on you, you're going to die, and all the lies we're told. And then now you have young people today that are saying they don't want to have kids because, after all, you know, that we're going to have in 12 years, the world's going to end, which of course is totally false. But when all these stories keep getting stacked and then you worry about inflation, people get overwhelmed. So we need a compelling future. A compelling future means anybody can deal with it incredibly difficult today if they have a real compelling tomorrow and a way to get there. That's not affirmations. That's not positive thinking. That's not, you know, setting New Year's resolutions that you break 2 weeks later. It means really coming up with a plan. In other words, for you to improve your life, there's lots of things we can't control. But if you focus on that, you're overwhelmed. There's plenty we can control in our minds and bodies. So for life to get better, we have to get better. For things to change, we have to change. And so my focus is showing people, let's start with a
way to do business. I'm looking for people that have a heart condition of love. I'm in the hugs and kisses business. The transactional guy who can only see the dollars and can't put others first, this is not good for them. But for somebody that wants to build relationships, this niche can feed your family at least the next 20 years. It's sustainable. And it even gets better in a down market. Even in a down market, what I do gets even more valuable. I'm ready to tell the whole world about what senior living means for our real estate world.
Do good
if you do it
and
right.
do well. It's probably the American dream to live a life like that, right? When we train people about this, most real estate investors, that I word gets thrown around a lot. A lot of people have it on the front of their Facebook page. They put their face and then investor or entrepreneur. And who does that word serve? I think it seems like I'm rich or some word, right? But what it says to the senior living industry is, I think all they hear is dun-dun-dun. You know, they just hear shark, and we're so proud of that word in the industry, and I don't think we should be, you know, about care
first. In front of me is a single-family home, and behind me is a giant senior living community. They have to move from that house to this. They have to sell that to get to
Children
this.
have already bought their McMansions. They're not waiting around to inherit mom's house. A son called you today because he's moving his mom into senior living. Why does he need the money now? Is because mom probably has a pension in that $2,000 to $3,000 range, and the cost of care on average in the United States is $6,000.
I don't see any difference. I guess I'm too old for this. Whatever, I still slay. I still slay.
There's a reason why your real estate lead source isn't working today, is that they don't have true motivation. They'll say things like, yeah, I'll sell my house for the right price. But the thing about motivation is that you can't fake it. When dealing with senior living, these families need to sell their house. They need to sell versus want to sell. And that's one of the main reasons why these are the best leads.
How do you get the best leads to come to you through relationships? People sometimes think, I'm going to teach you how to take a single family home and turn it into a residential assisted living community. That's not what we do. But those residential assisted living communities that you see going up all over, like even in St. Louis, we're here in Chesterfield right now, there's a huge one out front, and they're building a huge one next to the huge one. It's called the Silver Tsunami. It's happening right now, and we have a 20-year run from now.
Yeah, you know, I think in medieval times, I think the terminology is being quartered. It's where they would hook a person up to 4 horses, 1 on each limb, and pull the person apart. That's what the most responsible child's going through. It's usually a female, the one that's been helping mom. They've been taking mom to the appointments, the doctor's appointments. They're still trying to make mom happy, even though she just had to move into this long-term care community. You're trying to make the community happy. So now you're trying to fund that and get all the paperwork ready for that. You talk about crying, it's usually because of the siblings. The average sibling lives 400 miles away from mom. So that person is usually one that's very opinionated about what's going on without actually being there to take care of it, where the most responsible child is the one that has the brunt on them. And then the fourth thing people forget about is this is like a full-time job that just happened to that person, and they still have a husband at home or a family at home that didn't go away.
You
so
won't
they're
believe
being
this.
quartered.
We all think all of our possessions are worth $1 million. But in St. Louis, the average estate sale generates between $3,000 and $5,000 in revenue, with the cost to put that sale on is $3,000 to $5,000. So I didn't say your dad's stuff is worth zero. I said it might even be worse than that because of the time it takes to get to zero.
Reprobates is actually a much bigger set. And people always say, Phil, what a great little niche you have. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the numbers. Like I'm talking about out of the 74 million Americans by the year 2030 that'll be over the age of 65, 70% of them are going to move into some sort of a senior living. And I think we always hear about this transfer of wealth and how it's going to go down to the next generation. I don't think that's true because our seniors are living longer. The care is getting more expensive. I think that asset was going to have to be sold. In fact, only about 5% of Americans can just write the check every
Here's a
month.
simple, important tip you need to know. Stop waiting for your inheritance. It's not going to come to you. There's $10 trillion in homes that are owned by boomers and their parents outright in the United States. Guys, that money is not going to be transferred down to you. It's going to be sold off to pay for care. People are living longer and the care is getting more expensive, and that transfer of wealth is going to go to your parents' care and not to your inheritance.
It's very emotional, right? And so you're going to deal with people in a different emotional state. Some families want to get it done like yesterday, and some families are going to be slow. But what we know is there's an intent there. We know they're going to have to sell it. Whether they are slow or fast, we know in the next, 30, 60, 90, 180 days, in that window, they're going to be selling the house. So for every family that wants to close in 10 days, there might be another one that needs 5 months. But it's usually because they're trying to get figured out what they're going to do with the stuff. And maybe, and so guys, imagine right now, if you knew that direct mail, they were going to sell it in the next 90 days, how much more valuable would direct mail would be if you knew all your direct mail they had to sell?
Here's something that no one is talking about. If you're a real estate investor, think about the last 5 houses you bought. What was the average age of the seller? Were they 28 years old or were they 82 years old? Senior living is the real estate
young boy. I started reading the Forbes list, and it was always, oh, they're the Mars family. They sold candy bars and real estate. Oh, they're this business and real estate. Oh, they're this business and almost any rich person I know. And it's most likely because of the tax reasons, right? It's your duty to pay the right amount of taxes. And real estate's a phenomenal vehicle to allow you to create wealth and not be taxed.
Ever heard of the red car theory?
Death.
Nope.
Okay, Zach, you drove here today from your house.
Yes, sir.
How many red cars did you see?
I'm gonna go with 62.
Oh, but do you know that?
No.
Okay, so that you can think of, and you're sure, how many red cars did you see?
0.
Okay, but if I told you before you left your house that I was going to give you $100 for every red car that you saw on the way here,
Yeah.
would that have changed things?
100%.
Okay, so opportunity is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
If you wake up every day and you are not looking for opportunity, you will not see it. It could be right there.
Right.
It could be next to you at the red light. It could be right next to you parked at the CVS. It could be right in front of your face, but because you're not looking
They saw
for
my
it, you
heart,
didn't see
right?
it.
They saw that I had a good intention, but most people can't fail as much as I do. I think we should all fail more often than we are and try bigger things. And I stuck with this when real estate has been my backbone for 20 years, but senior living has been like the